Now here we have an SIR that's been track raced on the circuit years ago, and when the engine got tired, the stock P16, the owner got a B18c1 GSR motor, and instead of installing it, he had us rebuild it into a greater power making engine. And while on that, the owner decided to restore the actual body, to repaint the whole SIR into how it looks now, and it's gonna be looking really good. And we'll be doing you guys one better this time. We're gonna be assembling the engine with you guys, assemble the head, and actually compression test the engine before even start up, you know, just so that we know everything is fine. And some onboard drives like this, you know, you like this, right? And of course, a dyno's tuning session that we did, and you will have a front seat of how it is to have a build just for you, with all the tuning, even the assembly, all the details, and of course the dyno sheet. And you know this one is just for you. Alright, first things first, let's start talking about the setup. So it's a B18c GSR motor. We ported the head. It has Ferrea valve springs and retainers, Ferrea valves, a Skunk2 Ultra Street manifold that we ported, P30 OEM pistons from a B16 AEG, ARP rod bolts, ARP head studs, Skunk2 Pro1 cams, SMSP copy header, and an Apex I Megaphone chambered muffler. And we'll talk about that later. Alright, now let's go with the cylinder head, the GSR head. I just realized I don't have a video of me porting this or a GSR head, but you can click here for the B20 race setup that has a GSR head, and we did talk about a lot of things when I was porting the head. So, you know, it's gonna give you some good ideas. And look at this, the exhaust is efficiently shaped, and you know it's gonna flow with good airspeed, right? All right, now let's go to this. This is my colleague assembling the GSR head. He's actually putting the Skunk2 lost motion assembly, you know, and yeah, sorry about the position, it's kind of tilted, but hey, my colleague Not tried this, and you know, it ain't bad, you know. Next time we could probably do it better. Okay, with the lost motion in place, now we're gonna start assembling the rocker arms. Make sure you don't misplace or lose your VTEC pin, alright? Because that's like a crazy yet amateur mistake that's gonna give you a lot of headaches. Be it a sock or dock, finding a VTEC pin is gonna be super difficult, you know. Might as well just lock the VTEC and run Speed Factory VTEC pins, right? But then, you know, it's gonna be lopey as hell when it comes to idle. So anyways, all right, now here we're almost done with the rocker arms, right? And later we'll show you the Ferrea valve spring retainers installed. All right, we tried showing you a video of assembling the cylinder head and the springs, but we couldn't because we're actually covering the head above it, you know, right? Okay, now here's the Ferrea valve springs retainers. The customer supplied this, but it's pretty good. We use SuperTech, as you guys noticed, but hey, it was good. And here is the chamber. It actually got sandblasted because the owner was willing to cover the extra cost of that. So hey, we won't mind clean stuff, you know. It looks good. You can see the head, and of course the owner kind of like didn't want as much milling, so we didn't mill anything. And we were weighing the pistons, and you can see it's the P30 B16 pistons, not Type R, not aftermarket. And here we're checking the ring gaps, and look at the bore finish. That's really good, right? Okay, we actually had this honed so that the surface finish on the bore is perfect and new. So we can see if it's not round, right? And later we will show you, while the surface finish is important, it's also equally important or more important how you assemble it, if it's properly or not. Oh, Skunk2 Pro1, baby. Alright, because this is an 81 bore 87.2 stroke, when you calculate it, it's 11.5 or 11.6:1 compression, but because we ran flat-faced Ferrea valves, it's 11.9:1 compression. So it's not even 12, you know. So hey, people saying kulang sa compression, like what the hell? And here we are assembling the bottom end. We have the OEM bearings snug fit and good. The internals are dynamically balanced, the rotating assembly, but also the pistons and rods are statically balanced by me. Alright, it sits 0.023 inch below deck, but the owner didn't want any milling done to the head or block, or not as much, so we left it as it is. And it's gonna run Crower cam gears, you know, and then we're off to degree it. And actually, I want to talk about degreeing with you guys. When you degree cams, you're following their suggested lobe center on the intake and the exhaust. So once you get that set, it doesn't mean that's it. Because when you go on a dyno and you make power by advancing the exhaust 1 degree, that doesn't mean the degreeing is wrong. That simply means either your exhaust is lacking or you have too much exhaust. The question is which one. Things like that, I have to keep it to myself because that's my edge. But even on the intake, when you add or subtract degrees from your preset on the cam degreeing set on the proper lobe center, that means the engine is asking for something else. And you gotta fix that. Not by asking your customer to build another engine, but to understand the necessary tweaks to make more power. Now it's finished. Now let's check Javier, the owner, and on the car. Here's the SiR as it was before. It actually looks really good, right? Yes, it's not too low. It's just right. At least for me, you know. I'll drive this any day, anyhow. And the new color is gonna be the infamous Electron Blue Pearl EBP, and it's accurate because he used the paint code. So hey, now let's see how it is. Look at that. It looks really, really good. He had the shop somewhere in the south, I think Las Piñas or something, that does really good work. They usually do Euro cars like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, so you know they do good work. Look at that. That's an awesome finish right there. Electron Blue Pearl. Oh yeah. And here is his video as he used the flatbed towing.
So we are loading the car now. Papuntang SRD. Siguro mga 1.5 hour to. Let's see how it goes.
And here's a little trick that we do that you guys could probably do. We actually compression test the engine once we install it in the car before even starting it up. This does two things. It let us know if the compression is good before even startup, and at the same time, as you do the compression test, you're actually priming your oil pump. This way, it's gonna be safe when it starts, right? It's a good idea. And here's the before and after. Oh, actually, both cars or both versions look good. And day after the engine install, we set the idle tune and drove it a bit, and then went to the aircon system or the aircon shop to have the Freon charged before we go to the dyno on the 3rd day. And here's a short spirited cruise before we hit the dyno. That was just around 50 to 60% throttle. It sounds really good and it pulls really, really strong. Alright, now let's go to the dyno. And before anything, because we finished the engine, it's running, and because it's 11.9:1 compression, we know that airspeed, we would need a lot of it just to make it efficient. And even though this is an Ultra Street manifold, we figured, look at this. This is the stock form, right? and you know there's room for improvements, this way it's gonna get even better than it is. So hey, this is what we did. We started to infuse a little bit more taper and a little better opening on the entry, and it was really easy because the Ultra Street manifold is consistent on all fours. But also, let me show you this is a must. We bolted the manifold onto the GSR head, and you can see, look, that is a mismatch on the ledge of the port entry, right? There is no way that's gonna flow good if you just simply bolt it on. So you gotta port match that to get the best of what you can, right? And as we talk about taper, you can click here for the ITR manifold that we did, and it explains a lot of things including the runner length and the taper, so that this gives you a lot of good information on what to do or what's needed on your own project. Or at least when people suggest certain parts, you know what's right and what's wrong. And also the P30 manifold, you can click up here for that. And also, we will have a video on the end screen that's about the B20 VTEC race project, because we go into deep or in depth with the GSR head, which runs the same here. Alright, here we are. This is around 6:45 or 7 p.m. on, I think, on a Thursday or Wednesday. That's why still traffic behind. And you know, it's not that cold. We don't usually dyno like, let's say, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and then turn off the correction factor. No, we don't really sell well HP numbers. You know, we don't dyno race. You know, this is just for the proper tuning tool on the dyno. Alright, let's set it now. Alright, wait, okay. One frustrating factor on this dyno is that when we checked the cam gear, we didn't have the metric or fraction of a size of the socket, so we couldn't adjust it. That was frustrating because I wanted to see what the engine wanted, right? Because it was degreed. So now let's go to the dyno run. Alright, here we go. This is on an a-spec Megaphone. Sounds pretty good, actually, you know, I like it. Now let's do one more run, and it still sounds really good on the phone, you know. And this is what it made. 201 wheel horsepower and 133 feet-pounds torque. Not bad without touching the cam gears. So hey, we know we can get some more if we did. And here's an interesting dilemma of the owner. He has an a-spec Megaphone that we used here, and on the dyno, and you can hear it, right? He also has an original Tanabe G medallion chambered muffler, and here it is, right? And here's his onboard video run. I actually like the G medallion a lot better, or maybe I'm just getting older, you know. I want less drone or less noise. And this, a month later, we had to retune it a bit because it's been running good. So we had an idea, or we actually checked the compression, and this is what we got. Remember, it was 200 psi before startup, right? Okay, my colleague is doing the compression test and I'm cranking it. Alright, let's check. Oh, 227. Okay, not bad. Okay, cylinder number 2 now. Right. Oh, okay. 225. Right. Number 3. It becomes consistent. It's a matter of how you build it, or how the builder does it. You know, you can have all the right tools and right machining, but if you're an inferior builder, it's not gonna work. And we try again on the number 4 cylinder just to be sure, or number 1 cylinder. Sorry. Yep, still the same. And look, this is my definition of a street car. It looks good and goes as fast as you want it to go. And he actually drives this on the highway, like S legs or N legs. And guess what? He just enjoys pegging it on the 5th gear and just, you know, catching up with all the other fast cars. That's what you call fun. And this is his view whenever he drives out. Look, hey, that's gonna be fun, you know? This is my kind of project or my kind of car. The thing that you can just drive on the street whenever you want to or for work, but you can also take it out at night to have some fun. And that's the essence of having a project as your car. Not like you start building it and then you start turning into a race car and you can drive it anywhere. And so I hope this project inspires you guys to keep going and keep planning for your project and, you know, not going to the wrong shop who doesn't know anything, you know. And avoid being scammed out of your money and scammed out of lacking horsepower.